Good morning, Das Fossil Railroad fans. I want to take a moment here to talk about my power behind car that is both Blunami and allows for power to be distributed to downstream portions of the train. So what we have here is a Dewalt battery, and this is for engines that don't have any kind of Blunami or any kind of ability to have power in the engine. So for engines, what I do is I create a port on the back that takes power, and I use a 3.5 millimeter port, and I cut off all of the power from the rails. So I disconnect the power from the rails and I directly connect that port to the motor power. It's then your decision as to whether or not you want to add extra lights or anything like that. I've done all of that with a lot of my engines. I do have Blunami built into a lot of my engines, by the way, like these Conrail over here. They are NW2s, I believe. They are NW2s, yeah. They have Blunami in there and also a battery inside, and allow for a battery to be hooked up from the rear. But this Pennsylvania FA1 I've disconnected all rail power, and it takes power from the rear port, that 3.5 millimeter port on the back. It can also transmit power through on the front through another 3.5 millimeter port. So this engine can consist with other engines. I run two FA1s together in consist off of one Blunami all day long, and it runs beautifully. You don't need to worry about it overtaxing the 4 amps, the 4 amp rating of the Blunami. So let me explain here how this all works. Now, my Blunami for this particular car is arriving this afternoon. That will get mounted directly on the back of the speaker. I put some Kapton tape on the back here just so that there's no conductivity between the Blunami and the back of that speaker. I will also wrap the Blunami in Kapton tape and then use hot glue to mount the two pieces together that are each separated by Kapton tape. Here I've got a standard Dewalt battery. This is a 2 amp hour. I've got 4 amp hour. I've got 5 amp hour. 5 amp hour basically runs most of the day, no problems whatsoever. 2 amp hour runs for quite a bit of time. I haven't exactly measured the time, but it's a good amount of time if all you have are 2 amp hour batteries. But 5 amp hour will run majority of your day, and absolutely you could have one 2 amp hour on the charger and have another one running, and then when it dies you just swap them out, and it will charge faster than it will deplete. So on here I have a battery conditioner. It's basically a card that allows for me to specify the low voltage cutout on that will cut off power downstream if the card senses that the battery is below a certain threshold. And for my DeWalts, I have those set to, I can show you here, CL is the cutoff low, and that's at 15.3 volts. So that will cut off at 15.3 volts. That then goes into this buck converter that I have here. And this buck converter I have set at 15.1 volts. Now, keep in mind that this conditioner, or this battery low voltage protector is upstream from this buck converter. The buck converter is receiving the full, and right now this battery is showing 20.1 volts. So the buck converter is receiving 20.1 volts, and it's down. It is reducing that voltage to 15.1. because I want all my engines running at 15.1. There's no reason to be higher than that. I could even switch it to lower than that. I can switch it all the way down to, I think, a half a volt. That won't run any train, but it shows the flexibility of the buck converter. The buck converter's right here. This little screw is how you adjust the voltage output, and I chose 15.1 because it's a nice solid voltage, and it just remember Ohm's law: the higher the voltage you have, the more amps that your engines will draw at stall. So there's no reason to run at 20 volts, because that's only going to make your engine stall current higher, which will potentially affect your Blunami. And also, no one likes a fast running train unless you've got a model railroad that's like a bullet train of some kind. The freight trains, they really have a tendency, or they really look a lot better when they're running nice and slow. So it gives you a sense of power and struggle that the engines are going through when pulling along consist. So I've got the buck converter. The buck converter then goes through this connector. This is nothing but a quick disconnect connector. And I've got a number of LEDs on here. One that's a blue LED that shows that the Blunami is on. So when I flip the switch down here, that will turn this on, and that will give power to the LL and the LR, or the RL and the RR ports on the Blunami 4408. That will give it power. The engine then I have on these two ports that come through and give power output to this 3.5 millimeter jack here to give power to an engine ahead of it. I have underneath this buck converter, I've got a relay, and that relay takes the F6 output of the Blunami, and I use that as a trigger to send the full 15.1 from the buck converter off to this port in the rear. And that can be demonstrated very easily by me taking this over to my other bench. Let's see here. One moment. I've got a bit of a mess here. I've been doing a lot of work on trains, but if I've got an old school transformer. If I turn this on and I take the hot and hook it up to my hot, right? Dropping batteries everywhere. This is all happening real time here. So I take and hook that up to the hot, and I take my negative and hook that up to the negative. We should have some kind of power here, and it's proving me wrong. I have that on the speaker. that's the wire that's intended to go to the speaker. So let me change that out here. And now you can see down here, I've got power coming out of the rear jack. This is just a light that I have on the rear of the car that will show that I've got power coming out the rear, basically an HEP, head-in power kind of emulation there. So you can see if I take my transformer now and I switch it, it is turning on and off the power, and that basically I have my transformer here that's kind of emulating the F6 output of the Blunami that's used as a trigger to the relay, which then sends the full 15.1 volts downstream to cars behind me, so I can have lights and all kinds of other things all throughout the rest of the train. I'll make another video once my card arrives, and I'll show it all installed, and I will also show the car running some trains later today. Have a great day. Thank you very much for watching, and remember to subscribe and like. And this is a brand new channel, and I appreciate you watching. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.